Hello and welcome to Low Carb Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Leah Williamson, and I'm with my host, Holly Jean. Welcome, Holly.
Hi, Leah.
How's everything been going?
Oh, pretty good. The kids have started school here in Oklahoma. I'm not homeschooling anymore. I have a group program starting tomorrow. I know if you've been listening to the show, you've been hearing me talk about my Empowered to Thrive program. So that starts to, no, sorry, not tomorrow. I'm ahead of myself. It starts on Monday. So I was thinking today. So yeah,
That's
I'm
good.
excited. I have a good group of students starting and I'm ready to get that rolling. How about you? What's new?
Sounds exciting. Well, yeah, I've had a bit of a busy time myself. We just started the September classes for the Nutritional Therapy Association. I'm teaching a class in the US at the moment. It's an online class. So I just got to meet the students the other day. So really excited to be teaching with them. And then enrollment's opened for February already. So if you've been thinking about it, like now is a great time. We've got a link on our uh, Low Carb Conversations website. You can follow the link and see if maybe studying to be a nutritional therapy practitioner is for you. Certainly works well for us. And if you ever want to have a chat about it, feel free to reach out to Holly and I. We're always happy to have a chat about the different things we've done with our qualifications, including being on a podcast and talking to you guys.
Yeah, it's fun. And on my personal page on Instagram, um, survivalist nutrition or sorry, I'm tired. Survivalist nutrition. I just did a live talking about how now is such a perfect time to go in business for yourself or to start your own business and have more financial freedom as the world keeps changing. So definitely, if that's something you're thinking about, Leah and I both think that doing the NTA and starting our nutrition practices has probably been one of the best decisions we've ever made, right?
Exactly. And you should mention that, Holly, that you've changed your branding name. I don't know if you've mentioned it on a podcast
I,
yet, so people can find you.
I did, yeah. On the last episode I did, I
Oh,
mentioned
you
that
mentioned it. Yeah.
I did just change my branding. So again, if you didn't catch that episode that I did recently, I am no longer Rabbit Holistic. I am Survivalist Nutrition, and you can find me at Survivalist Nutrition on Instagram.
Awesome. Something that I'm still loving at the moment, I think I mention it every co-host episode, but I just can't get enough of it, is Cacao Bliss. I love their cacao. I've been doing some women's circles just about connection and getting women together. And we did a cacao ceremony with the Cacao Bliss, and everyone absolutely loved it. Got my little special cup here that I drink it out of. And it's just tastes so good. I love mixing mine with some almond milk and then turning it into like a hot cocoa and frothing it all up and then sitting there and just drinking it. And it just makes me feel so lovely and nice and relaxed. And yeah, it's just so great. And yeah, at the women's circle, we all had it and then we sat around and had a chat. And it was, yeah, it was just really lovely.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I don't know if I've shared this already, but I've been doing they have a mug cake recipe where
Mm.
it's the cacao bliss, a little bit of almond flour and an egg, and you just microwave it for just a few seconds and it makes kind of like a chocolate souffle. And then we have a grocery store here in the States called Trader Joe's, and it's kind of like a thing. If you love Trader Joe's, it's like the thing. But they have a coconut whipped cream. And so I
Oh,
put coconut whipped cream on it and it doesn't have like any added sugars and it's just so good. So,
oh,
and I
that
hide
sounds
it in my
amazing.
mug and the kids don't know that I'm eating chocolate.
You say quietly, so I hope there's no kids around listening. We've got some really great sponsors of the podcast at the moment. So if anyone's looking for any discount codes, sorry, definitely go to the website. We've got a code there for Cacao Bliss. We've got a code there for Mountain Rose Herbals. We've
Oh
also,
yeah.
yeah, we've got a code for
Outer
the pizza thins,
aisle.
Outer Aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can't thank our sponsors enough. That really helps us to be able to bring this show to you every week. So please support our sponsors, which supports us. And yeah, they've got some great discounts there for you to try as well.
Yeah, and the cauliflower thins from Outer Isle Gourmet, like those are something that are in my shopping cart every week. I buy them myself at the grocery store because I love them that much.
Yeah.
And I just ordered all my supplies. I have my fire cider um, cook. Oh, so it's not cooking. It just sits for 4 weeks in the pantry. So it's a nice immune boosting tonic. And I ordered all my supplies from Mountain Rose Herbs. So I love it. Good stuff. These
Yeah,
aren't just
definitely.
things that we just have as sponsors. These are products that we use and we love. So
That's
we are
right.
recommending them to you because we love them.
That's exactly right. And we wouldn't recommend them if we didn't. We really love them. We want you to support them. They're small businesses doing really well and wanting to share that love with everybody else. So, yeah, make sure you get in and support those ones. So, anyway, though, this is our co host episode. And so we're recapping the last few episodes, going back in case you might have missed them, drawing out some of our highlights. And then we've got a couple of articles to review at the end of the episode. So, let's get started. So, the first one we're reviewing that we had on was, well, just the most recent one was with Temple Stewart. I don't know if you've had a chance to catch that one. Really great episode. She is a ketogenic nutritionist. She's also a dietitian. She had PCOS, and keto really helped her to really just get rid of most of those symptoms that she was having, and then go on and have a baby as well. So it was really great talking to her because, you know, it's not typical that dietitians are on board with ketogenic or low carb ways of eating. So it's always great to find someone that is. Holly, what were your takeaways from this episode?
Yeah, just as you mentioned, it was a really great episode with Temple. We just had a very down to earth conversation. I loved hearing her story of something that's not typically talked about, and it's the fact that you actually can reverse PCOS. And so to hear her how she did it and overcame her fertility challenges by using nutrition and by using the therapeutic benefits of a ketogenic diet. It's really inspiring, especially as PCOS and infertility and those types of issues continue to rise, and they really aren't spoken about enough, I think, in the medical community. So I think her message, her story, and her practice really puts out a different narrative for people who are looking for support in those areas. So it was a great episode.
Yeah, definitely. So that's episode 442. Check that out with Temple Stewart, the ketogenic nutritionist. And then we had episode 441, which was with Holly. And Holly gave us one of her great webinars that she shares her pillars of health, wasn't it? You've got 5 rings of health that you were sharing with everybody. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that episode?
Yeah, just a brief overview. It was really about just building resilience and how supporting your immune system and supporting your health is not just doing one thing, it's a collection of things. And it's starting with your mindset, because your mind really controls everything else that you're doing, whether that's nutrition wise or diet, what you're eating, how you're moving your body and exercising. The importance of rest and recovery, and how all those things work together and they're not separate of each other, they're not compartmentalized, and then how our environment impacts all of those things together, and really just how they all work together. And I offer very practical action tips that you can do right away to start making improvements in your life in all of those areas.
Yeah, that sounds really great. So make sure you check out that one, episode 441 with Holly, Building Resilience, 5 Rings of Health. All right. And then we had episode 440, which was with Wade Lightheart. He's from a company called BioOptimizers. And he gave us such a good rundown about digestion. And like so many like little clinical pearls in there if anyone's having any digestive issues. He was very much aligned with what we're taught at the Nutritional Therapy Association. So Holly and I were like, oh, well, it's so refreshing to find somebody who's on board with the digestive process, just like us. And also one thing I really enjoyed about him was that it doesn't matter what what kind of requirements people are eating, because I don't even think that he might have been eating low carb. He might have been vegetarian or something like that, but it didn't matter about the dietary ideology. Everybody needs good digestion. And so he was talking about how to get that good digestion. And then if people need that additional help, he's got bio-optimizers, which have supplementation that's been made with really high quality that they can then add to their diet that they're having. So I thought there was some really good takeaways there. What were your thoughts, Holly?
Yeah, there were some really good takeaways. And as like we know, we talk about digestion all the time. And I think it's one of those things that we just kind of, it's so normal to us that we just know that digestion is the foundation of health. But we often forget that other people don't know that. I mean, I know our clients do, but I feel like our audience kind of knows us by now and knows our messaging. But I think Wade did a really good rundown of the digestive process and how it's supposed to work, and what can go wrong, and symptoms you might be experiencing that maybe you think are normal but really aren't. And so I think if you have any kind of digestive issues or symptoms that have been bugging you, it's a really great episode to listen to. And like you said, it doesn't matter what kind of dietary philosophy you subscribe to, because digestion is something that's important to every single person, no matter how you're eating.
Yeah, it's so true. So that's episode 440 with Wade Lightheart. So they're our past 3 episodes that we've had, and we've got some really great guests coming up. We've been booking a few extras in, so we should have Dr. Ken Berry coming up soon. Love his YouTube videos. He's just such a great guy. I've met him once before in Low Carb Denver, so I'm really excited to get him on the podcast. And who else have we got coming up, Holly? I think I saw
Dr. Mindy Pels.
Yeah. And in December, we've got Dr. Kate Shanahan on as well. And I think I saw Dr. Ryan Laurie. He's coming on as well. Yeah, we've had him on before, but it'd be good to get an update. Yeah.
I wanted to connect with him because I'll be at the Keto Expo coming up in Las Vegas next month. So if any of our listeners are going to that as well, please let me know so I can meet you in person. But he's going to be there as well. So I wanted to connect with him before going to Las Vegas.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be a great event and great way to connect with everybody. And yeah, I reckon just shout out don't forget about our Instagram page, Low Carb Conversations. Go over there and just message Holly and say you're going, and catch up, and she'll be running around there having a great time, and I'll be sitting back here with FOMO, knowing that I can't leave Australia. As soon as that world opens, I'm on a flight over there to go and see one of these conferences.
Well, I've been watching Jimmy down at the biohacking expo right now with Dave Asprey in Florida, and I like how he's been like interviewing people live on Instagram. So maybe I'll do that at the Keto Expo too.
Yeah, that'd be So watch out for that on our Low Carb Conversations page. I reckon that'd be some good, and I'll be watching in as well with my FOMO. With my keto snacks, crying into my cacao bliss. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about what article do you have for us this week, Holly?
Oh, this is a good one, actually. This one comes out of Vogue. It is in their beauty section, and Vogue is like very popular. Everybody knows Vogue. So this was actually a really well-written article. It's titled, "Here's What Eating Sugar Actually Does to Your Skin, Brain, and Mood." And then the subtitle is, "Sugar and Spice Don't Always Lead to Everything Nice." But I definitely recommend reading this article. And even like the beginning part, it explains how sugar is processed by the body. And it says when we digest sugar, and it doesn't specify, but sugar is not necessarily like eating candy or sweets or something, but things that also break down into sugar. So those would be your grains, your breads, your carbohydrates, those things all break down into sugars. But the enzymes in our small intestines breaks the sugars down into glucose. And it's the glucose that's released into the bloodstream, transported to all our tissues and our cells, our organs, converted to energy. We know this. But if you consume more sugar than your body needs right away, that's when it can be stored for later, and it can also start leading to problems. Your body can stop producing enough insulin to combat the sugar, or sorry, I'm losing the words here, but to process the sugar. And then also we can have our cells become resistant to the insulin if we're being exposed to it too much. And that is where we get insulin resistance. That's where we start getting into dangerous situations with metabolic conditions and the disease pathway. So it's a really good breakdown of how sugar works. And then I thought it was really great how it talks about how sugar affects your skin, because I think most people, when we think about eating sugar, we think about it for weight gain, or we think about it for our body and our health. And maybe we don't necessarily think that it has an effect on our skin or our mood or our brains. And so I like how it went into details there. Leah, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's a
No.
very good description about that. Yeah. I think, I just always imagine all these, when it goes too much, all these cells are just like floating around and the body's like, nah, don't, no more, can't take it. So it's just all like, going around the body, and the body's like, I don't know what to do with this. And then that's it. Insulin resistance, diabetes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really doesn't take too much. I just want to do a little snippet here of what it talks about for the skin, but it talks about how if you've noticed your skin feeling dull or just looking tired, maybe you're prone to more acne, or maybe just more inflammation and flare-ups, that puffy feeling. A lot of times that can be contributed to sugar. And it talks about how our skin is made up of collagen, which is a type of a protein. And that's what keeps our skin firm and supple and youthful looking. And as we age, collagen naturally decreases within our body. But with the increase of sugar, the molecules attach to proteins and form free radicals. And it's the presence of those free radicals that cause oxidative damage within our body. And it also shows up as evidence in our skin, our hair, our nails, and also just our overall energy within the body. Yeah, so if your skin's looking tired or feeling tired and you've been eating some excessive sugar, then that might be someplace you want to look to start cutting back to really improve your skin.
Yeah, I think that's not something people don't like often go for the angle of how it affects your skin and things like that when talking about sugar. It's always, we're in this low carb world, it's always weight loss, that's kind of like, sugar and weight loss and that kind of thing. But yeah, I think focusing on skin's another good aspect of that too, because, even for people who are that, what they call that skinny fat, we don't know what's going on inside the body. They may look like their skin is aging prematurely because they're eating a lot of sugar. So a good way to kind of, I guess, negate that is to make sure you're having a low sugar diet. Alcohol, I know, affects your skin a lot, dehydrates it as well, but also gives you that puffiness and, the sugar content in that. And yeah, I just think that, I know my skin is pretty much really great all of the time, especially for, 43. Not really getting too many of those wrinkles and stuff like that. And I do attribute that to the food that we eat and the low sugar diet that we lead. So, and I do know that when I do have those, occasional, may have a blowout or whatever you want to call it, I do start getting some little spots on my face which don't normally show up as well. So that's like kind of like listening to my body, kind of like, I don't want those spots on my face at 43, so I'm not going to eat those foods because I know that's what causes them.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that too. I get compliments on my skin all the time. I'm going to be 42 this year in December. And yeah, I don't have very many wrinkles. I always have kind of like a youthful glow. And like, I'm not saying this to brag. I know you're not saying it to brag either, but I really do contribute, like credit my diet and lifestyle to having great skin. And I know it's not sexy when people go, oh, what products are you using on your skin? What do you use for your face? And I was like, really, it's more what I eat and don't eat that has the effect on my skin.
That's so true. And yeah, I get the same compliments as well. And yeah, not to brag, but that's one aspect I always take pride in. It's like, I know that, the diet that I'm eating is directly contributing to how my skin looks. And yeah, what face products do I use? I don't use any really. Like I use a little bit of facial moisturizer every now and then, sometimes in winter when it's a little bit drying, and I just use a natural one there. But I do not spend a lot of money on skincare products or facial products. I do not spend hardly any money on makeup. I rarely use makeup. Maybe if we're going out for a special occasion and you just want to put something on. But apart from that, like it's just drinking lots of water, eating low sugar, and eating well, and trying to get sleep. Sleep, I know. I got to work on that one. That's a good podcast we've got coming up for everyone to listen to as well. Wait for the one with Devon about sleep. You'll be like prioritizing sleep as soon as you hear this episode. It's coming out soon.
That's a good teaser.
It is.
It really is a good one. All right. And then let's just quickly talk about how sugar affects our brain. I think if you have children, I think the easiest thing to see is how sugar affects our children, and it excites them and makes them a little bit wild. I see it in my children right away because we don't have sugar very often. And so if you do have children where if they're not having sugar all the time, it is more noticeable. But aside from that, sugar does stimulate that feel good part of our brain, our reward system, and it can be highly addictive.
Extremely addictive. And I'm just thinking about this weekend. I've just had my parents here, and the kids have just in Australia, we're having now one of our term breaks, and it was the last day of school. So they had some donuts as a celebration. And my daughter was like walking around like she wasn't even in her body, and she was talking away and going like 100 miles an hour. And I was like, what's going on here? And I was like, oh, sugar. The sugar.
Yeah. And even when it comes to like our brain health, there's talk now of like Alzheimer's being referred to as type 3 diabetes. There's research and studies coming out linking sugar and high spikes in insulin causing those plaques on the brain. And it might not, like they're always saying they don't really know what it is, but there's a lot of evidence now saying it could be a form of insulin resistance.
Well, they have been calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes for a while now, haven't they? So
they have, and I don't know like when it is just like theory or like when it becomes more accepted.
Might be something interesting to ask Dr. Like Ryan Lowry about when we have him on the show, or even Dr. Ken Berry when we have him on the show. They might be a good question to ask them.
Yeah, that'd be good. And actually, I think we've mentioned this before, like even getting Dr. is it Ben Bickman back on too, because I think he's been talking a lot about insulin resistance and the Alzheimer's links too. So we'll dig a little bit deeper into that. But I did find some information saying that when a person is insulin resistant, or there's high levels of insulin that's normally accompanied by high blood sugars, that the blood sugar can damage the brain in two ways. And the first way is the high insulin and the high blood sugar, it swings glucose levels up and then drops the blood sugar. And so the low after every high is what depletes the brain energy, and it lowers the blood-brain barrier defenses. And that's what allows toxins to get into the brain that would not normally get in. And a drop in that brain energy also causes excitotoxic brain cell damage. And this could potentially lead to brain cell death. So that is one thing with insulin, high insulin in the brain. And the other one is that glucose metabolism produces an estimated 60 to 50 times as many free radicals as fat metabolism does. So those free radicals oxidize the cells, and that can lead to an increased formation in brain plaque. So the oxidation caused by sugar and excess insulin doesn't only affect your skin, but it's also affecting your brain. And I think it would probably be safe to assume that it's affecting all the systems within the body,
It's interesting, isn't it? When you were reading the first point, it almost made me think about the immune system. It's almost like the immune system's dropping for the brain once you're eating sugar, and then it's allowing all that stuff to happen once the barriers are down. So yeah, that's really interesting.
Well, what
That's
is
quite,
it? They say that eating, like when you eat sugar, like your immune system is suppressed for up to six
yeah.
hours. And it's because it's busy working on minimizing the damage that it's causing within your body. It can't be fighting off pathogens or exposure to germs or anything because it's too busy doing damage control within your body because it is so damaging.
Yeah, that's so true. And yeah, it's like it takes priority over everything else just to bring those blood sugar levels back down so that your body, it's like that survival mechanism kicking in there. So yeah, it's a really great
Yeah.
article that you found. It's
I know
in
this is good.
vogue
I
too. Yeah.
definitely recommend it. So we will definitely we'll have that linked up in the show notes. I recommend giving it a read. Well, let's move on to talking about something a little more lighthearted and kind of
Yeah.
silly.
Well, you guys know how we love these like top 10, health tips or, whatever articles we could go through the list. Well, this one is 8 viral health and beauty trends that do more harm than good that you can find on TikTok and Instagram. And we've kind of talked about this before, like, not believing everything that you read in the media or see in social media. This is kind of like the whole point of our podcast. But here we are again, finding these really interesting health tips by people, random people, don't even have any qualifications, just randomly trying things and things not going so well. It's almost like, what's that show, Ridiculousness? This is the ridiculousness of the TikTok world.
Mhm.
So the first one that they talk about is getting garlic cloves and sticking them up your nose. This is apparently, it's got to be raw, up the nostril, apparently helps you to clear your sinuses. So basically, I watched the video, don't watch it. They stick the garlic up their nose, and then basically afterwards, he pulls the garlic out, and yeah, all this snot basically comes out. He comes out in massive snot bubbles. It's like the hugest, grossest thing ever as he pulls it out. But apparently it was the garlic that was causing the mucus to come out of the body, and was producing more mucus, I think, because maybe, I don't know, garlic's not meant to be put up your nose, and it was irritating his sinuses and caused more, rather than clearing it out. So I don't know. I don't even know if I would like to try putting garlic up my nostrils. Like,
No, and I absolutely love garlic, but and it's so beneficial. Like it's antiviral, it's antifungal, it's
it's
all
a
the
great
wonderful
natural
things.
remedy. Yeah.
It really is, but it's not meant to go up your nose. You can eat raw garlic. You can even chop up garlic and mix it with some oil and put it on the bottom of your feet and put some socks on. I've heard that you can just cook a nice Italian like bolognese or
Just
something
eat
with lots of garlic in it.
it.
Yeah.
I had a lovely housemate years ago, and he I think he was from Croatia, and anytime he thought that there was a flu coming on, he would chop up a whole cloves of garlic, and the only way that he could eat it to get it down raw would be to wrap it in white bread, and then he would eat the whole thing. It was like, it was not for me. um
Oh.
yeah,
Well,
not for me at all.
if you're gonna eat whole cloves of garlic and put them on bread, then you definitely want to roast it, slow roast it with olive oil and get it all nice and smear it on there. That's the way to do it if you're gonna do it with
Like
the
a
bread.
garlic bread.
Oh, it's so good. But
Yeah, I think,
anyways, if you need to clear your sinuses, you can use peppermint oil, you can use a neti pot, you can do something else. Just don't be putting cloves of garlic up your
yeah,
nostrils.
I love just getting that saline solution and putting it up the nose, or just
Mm-hmm.
even, yeah, like you said, getting some oil. We use like even eucalyptus oil,
Mm-hmm.
and putting some drops into some hot water and just putting your head over it and clearing your sinuses that way. But I guess the thing is, what caused the sinuses to be clogged up in the first place? Is it if it's a food sensitivity or allergy? Like, you might want to look at the root cause there. If it's just a cold that you need to clear the sinuses, it will pass. It'll pass probably quicker than sticking the garlic up your nose by supporting your immune system.
Oh, and then I wonder how long that garlic smell stays in your nose.
Oh, and it just would burn, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you be just like crying? Like you'd have
Yeah,
tears
probably because
coming
when
down.
you chop garlic, that
Yeah.
smell stays on your fingers for a long time. So if you put
If
it up your nose, you're just going to be smelling garlic.
I know. And when you buy like proper organically grown garlic, it's strong. It's got a really strong taste. You only need a small amount. So anyway, pass on that one.
Yeah.
This one I thought was interesting. This is more to do with the skin. It was the henna freckle trend. So basically, people were doing like henna tattooing to put freckles on their face. And some people were like having skin reactions to it. It was actually like burning the skin. So I don't even know what they were using, whether they were using proper henna, because if you do henna right, it can look beautiful artwork that they draw on their hands and things like that, but maybe not for the face. I don't know.
Yeah, well, this just goes right up with my opinion on face tattoos of any kind. It's like, just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't mess with your face.
That's right.
I,
And maybe do
I
a
do
skin
love the
test
freckles,
first.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You have to have some common sense kick in here once in a while if you're going to be tattooing yourself on your face. Like, you can't expect that to end well.
This was an interesting one. It was the carnivore diet they had included in the list. And it was apparently because a famous TikToker, I think her name is Ellie Miles, had shared a graphic that the carnivore MD had put together. And it was basically labeling that leafy greens and there was a few other vegetables were toxic. Like it actually used I think those words, do not use these are toxic. And then I think apparently everybody went crazy over it because, she was saying that vegetables weren't good for you. And, everyone went a little bit wild on it. So, I thought that one was kind of interesting.
Well, I'm looking at it right now, and the things that's listed in the graphic as toxic: seed oils, yes; nightshades to some people, yes; legumes to some people, yes; nuts and seeds, if not properly soaked or prepared, some people, yes. I wouldn't say that the things in this toxic list are a yes to all people at all times, aside from the seed oils. But
what about in context though? So she's promoting carnivore. So in
right.
context to people doing carnivore, those foods could potentially be, maybe toxic's a harsh word, but not advisable for some of those people.
Right. Maybe problematic is a better
problematic.
word.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah. Maybe it's all in the semantics of how we're messaging these things. And I don't know, apparently it might have caused her page to come down or something like that. Or she had to, I know, it was like,
oh, cancel culture. Sorry, you're done.
That's right. You shared something that somebody else put together. Cancel you.
Yeah.
I know. And then the
the
next one was just as interesting, the potato diet. It's whenever it's the potato diet, it's just like only eating plain potatoes for 3 to 5 days straight. And apparently it comes from Australia. He lost 50 kilos because he only ate potatoes for a year.
If you only eat one thing for a year, you're probably going to lose weight. The one guy lost weight eating sandwiches for a year. Yeah. It's like, you can make any diet work for you. I guess that's the thing. That doesn't mean it's recommended. Doesn't mean it'll work for you if it works for someone else. But if you want to make something a thing, you could probably make the potato chip diet a thing. I think we talked about that one time too, right?
Yeah.
Potato chip diet.
This sounds familiar. But potatoes, like just plain potatoes, no thanks. I'd rather eat those toxic vegetables for a year than eat plain potatoes.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
he might have lost weight, but who knows what his insulin numbers look like.
Yeah. And then the last one that I'll just draw out here to finish up is like the what I eat in a day trend. I love those. I love watching what people eat in a day. But I did watch one of these videos on this list that will link up into the show notes. And this girl, she ordered like Pizza Hut or something like that. And she ordered like 2 pizzas, all these breadsticks, some pasta Alfredo, and then sat there and ate all of it on TikTok. It looks like she's eating it all in one go and just ate the whole lot in one go. But obviously it's like kind of time lapsed and cut. So, you don't see everything. So did she really eat it all? I don't know. But even just to promote that, it's like, it's not healthy.
Yeah, I find it interesting to see what people eat too, but I think it's important to remember that this is social media. This is not real life. Someone can portray whatever they want. And right, this looks like it's a thin girl eating all this stuff. And so that message she's sending is, look, you can eat all this food and still be thin. But on the flip side, there's people who are posting what very little food they eat. And I think that the danger behind this trend is people are always going to be comparing themselves, and so it just goes into like that bad mindset where you're thinking, oh, I need to eat like this, or I need to eat like that. And it's that comparison where people really get into trouble there. And so that's why I'm not a big fan of this trend. It doesn't matter if you're eating super healthy stuff. I don't mind people sharing their food once in a while. It's like, this is what I'm eating. But if you're sharing what you've eaten throughout the whole day, I think that opens up just too much room for people to think that they have to eat like you.
Yeah, it's that fine line. And I mean, it's more accessible now because we've got social media, so everybody can see everything that everybody is doing. But it's not something that is a new thing, really, because we used to read magazines in our era when we were that age, that young influential age, and we would look at the magazines and we would see what is. I would always flick through to what's the latest diet that whatever celebrity was having.
And those are still in the magazines. I see headlines all the time in the magazines of what so-and-so's eating and how they're exercising to get ready for events or movie roles or stuff. So it doesn't matter if it's on social media, it's still everywhere.
I think the best thing that we can do in terms of all of this is just educate our children on what a healthy, nutritious diet is and give them the tools to build that resilience so that they don't look at these things and go, oh, maybe I should try that. Or she's eating all the food. Maybe I can do that too. We really don't know what's going on behind the scenes
right.
as well. So yeah, I think it's just we can't get rid of it. I think it's always going to be around. It's always going to be a part of the culture. I think, I think boys as well, like, because you've got two boys, I've got a boy and a girl. I think just educating our children that what constitutes a healthy, nutrient dense diet, and that's the best way to eat, and that's what's always going to be healthful and gaining the most out of their life and energy, rather than focusing on what this I guess it's like unreality world is doing.
Right. Yeah. So bottom line is, do your own research before taking dietary and health advice from TikTok.
That's right.
Or any social media or anything,
And if you want to stick garlic up your nose, do it at your own risk.
But make sure you film it and put it on social media, so we can all smash that like button.
Oh dear. Well, that's the end of today's episode. Thanks, Holly. I don't think we've got anything else to share after that one. I think that's just like the mic drop now. Boom, we're done. Our music is created by Andrew Bowden and production services are by Kevin Kennedy Spain of Disc of Light Media. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week. Bye, Leah.
Bye.